I feel like this experience just opened a new world for me.
And like, okay, just put it on spaces and then crash. Oh no.
I just wanted to scream in excitement, and I was like, how did I even do this? I better share it to all my friends.
First time I could see on my computer saying, okay, I'm listening, you can speak now. I was like, wow.
And such a show like this, especially with this AI, you see a whole lot of Indians and Chinese and all that, and yeah.
I want to say thank you for the invite and this space. It really helps to build the community.
It's a first time for me to join an hackathon.
Hi! It has been a little while since the Huggingface Build Small Hackathon ended, and now we are waiting for the final result. By the submission deadline on June 15th, almost 1,000 space has been submitted, and more than 2,000 people are joined the community. Even now, people are still sharing updates, discussing projects, and support each other in this community. For me, personally, there were 10 very intense days, and of course, it was a real competition. But more than that, I think it is also a very memorable experience. Behind every space, I imagine was a person, the idea, a challenge, a story. So I reached out to the Huggingface community and asked if anyone would like to join a short interview to talk about their experience during these 10 days. So I'm really happy to receive so much support. Whatever my first video about the community or this one, I have received a lot message. So finally, I have interviewed 7 participants. Each of them built a different space and each of them had a different story. So the first part, let's listen to what they remember the most this Build Small Hackathon. Let's go.
One of the best parts of this whole experience was seeing how everybody was coming together on the Discord server. Everybody was supporting each other, including the judges. They will give you feedback. Thanks to that, you improve, you get better. Like, I never thought I was going to be doing this in such a small amount of time. But I have people that play the game and tell me, hey, this is not really working. And I'll just sit down at 2 a.m. and try to fix it because I couldn't sleep if it was not working. So I will say that the most memorable experience was that, like, also the fact that we're here. Like, we are people from all over the world sitting down, just sharing our projects. You'll never forget that even if we don't know how to code or even if we have experience, everybody can sit down and create something now. So I feel like that's one of the best things that I got from this
experience. So the first time I could see on my computer saying, okay, I'm listening, you can speak now. I was like, wow, it's actually working. And the second moment was, I'm Romanian. Romanian is my first language. My parents still live in Romania. So I wanted Rich Mini to be able to understand and speak Romanian if I ever decide to take this guy to Romania to help them with their medication, because they have like big bags of medication. So when I could hear it for the first time speaking in Romanian, I was like, wow, it works. Because my parents don't speak English or any other language. So to be able to give something very personal to them was a big thing for me. Sometimes they don't have good internet connection. So this was part of the motivation of having something that would run locally. And yeah, just the idea of having something for them was like, yeah, I can do this.
There was this one specific user on Discord. I think his username was Dean. He made this piece called Rest Therapy. I actually enjoyed that app the most. Also, one of the let's say organizers of this event, I think his username was UV. He also made sure to interact with each and everyone's posts. And finally, this Google Meet, which we are in, it would also count as one of the most memorable moments I have.
Do something. I think that's great. And I learned a great deal. And you realize that you think you've thought to the extreme, and then you see someone and you're like, oh my God. People can think to a crazy extent. So
yes,
there was so much to learn. And at any point in time, you're like, well, there's so much we can extract from these models that we are not making use of so much. Going forward, I look forward to be able to extract so much more from these models, a whole lot on Huggingface. So yes, it was great being here. It was a wonderful learning experience.
For the second question, I have asked, do you have something you want to your history about Hugging Face? Because all of us love this community, love this platform. So what is your story and what you want to say to Hugging Face?
Okay, I've been using Hugging Face for quite some time now, and then I don't think there's one way to describe Hugging Face, but yes, it's the go-to for anything ML, all models. I don't really remember the last time I had to write PyTorch. As you see, at first you would have to go do your PyTorch, do your own forward pass, and write your own code to do the ML stuff. By now with Hugging Face, somebody's already done it. If there's something you want to do, there's a high chance somebody's already done it, and they've shared it for free. So yeah, I've used it for quite some time, for let's say over 2 years, and then it's a great place to find whatever you need. One main problem of mine is inference, and the cost of inference. Hugging Face has other partners with the inference and all that. Maybe a better and better package for the inference would help.
It's a first time for me to join an hackathon, especially in this niche. I had zero background on LLM, so I mean, I found it very useful for me because I had zero experiences with anything similar to this. So since it's my first experience or like first view of the whole app, I feel it's the best one there. But yeah, my opinion might be biased because don't have much experience in this particular area.
I have been using Hugging Face for at least a year now. I have used it for many of my machine learning models. Most of my users would be just gaining like some model from the Hugging Face, pulling a model from it, like a YOLO model or something.
I've been using Hugging Face for about 1 year. For this hackathon, I found it very useful that Hugging Face provided different models, suggestions of models that we could use for different tasks. And I thought, oh my God, I didn't know of many of these local models. So I was like, yeah, finally, I can actually play around. I feel like, okay.
Because I've been on Hugging Space for I think almost 2 years now, and this is like the most I've actually really interacted because I get a little shy.
We see the incredible story of Hugging Face. Let's we know about them one by one and listen to their stories.
So my name is Pedro. I'm from Portugal, and I do web development. And the project that I did for the hackathon, you know tic-tac-toe, right? The tick
Yeah.
tick tick.
Yeah.
But I learned how to play the 5 in a row tic-tac-toe, and I learned how to play it on the beach because the game there is called Caro. And then I got a notification saying, "Oh, the last day to register for the hackathon is today." I'm like, "Oh, I had zero knowledge about AI and training models and anything like that. I just do web, so it's very simple." And I had to learn from zero, and the last day it was like just connecting the last two pieces where I already had the fine tuned model, and it was getting responses from Olam and everything. So like, okay, this is working locally. I have the APIs ready on the game to get the first comments from one of the dragons, the funny one, and like, okay, just put it on spaces and then crash. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! It's like this was Monday, the last day, the last
Yes.
hour. I'm like, oh no! And it wouldn't do anything. It would get stuck, and I was like, getting a little bit disappointed, and quickly copying it to another repo. Trying like, okay, forget this one. I'm going to submit the previous version without the train model, and I did the sprites to animate the little dragons playing and including emojis and all this. So yeah, that was also the second hardest, was just waiting for things to happen.
Right.
Without AI, they can win sometimes, but AI will help them make unbeatable. Getting models to speak for the dragons, speak about the game. So there's a different personalities. One is the coach, one is the mentor, there's like an opponent. So with the big data set that I had of games, I could fine tune a model. Like I start with Quen, and I teach them how to speak about the game. Like, oh, this move is important because it's going to lead to somewhere, or this was a good defense because it blocked certain place.
My name is in Elite Code. I have What You Survived. And I did have a gallery on Open Space. What You Survived is not my first model I've trained, but it is my first one that I submitted for a hackathon. You have the hard seasons where you talk about what you survived, and my model is going to tell you what it is that you're amazing at and what you possibly can do. Well, the unresume is you tell my model like your worst job that you've had, or what if you don't have experience, and it'll give you you'll leave with the legend. It's gonna give you a nice story back. But yeah, I definitely love Hugging Space. I definitely want to improve and make more models. I was so excited. I entered on the very last day. I want to say I had like an hour left before I couldn't register anymore. I was like, what? Yes, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And very exciting. Yeah, it's not as hard as people think. You
Yes.
just have to have some patience and a lot of understanding. It's not
Yes,
hard.
yes.
I am Anurag Paul. I'm an Indian second year college student. So this is my app. Just hide it. So as you can see that there's a planet in the website. We can write any prompt I would want, and then the planet would basically take that form. Suppose I wanted to say, bring forth the ice ages in this planet. It would process that request, pass it to an LLM. The LLM outputs a JSON output. Those are basically parameters of the planet, and the planet's shaders get changed according to those parameters. So if we could just wait for let's see if that gets processed. You can see that there's some icy things in the planet that has gotten changed. And you can see that the planet is completely changed. There's lava all around, and yeah, that's more like it. Maybe we can do something like, we can be more specific with our prompts. We can write something like, and all the lava sources, change the color of the planet to something like blue, and change the atmosphere color to pink. Let's see what the planet does after it. So, hi guys, my name is Mariana Sinisterra. I'm an informatics engineering student. My project is called Lost Frequency Radio. This is the first time I do something like this, and I was really excited. I'm not really good at vibe coding because I started coding before AI was a thing. To be honest, I'm not that old, but it's quite recent. So I wanted to make it as playable as possible. So I also, let the person use the dial. Let the dial connect. And I also entered a second mode, knowing that not everybody had the time to wait for the model to just generate the answer. So I created a fast mode and the light mode, which the person can change. And in the light mode, the AI is the one doing all the job from scratch. And on the fast mode, the AI grabs the information from a pool that the AI generated. So it's easier for everybody to, see if they want to see the AI do the whole job, or if they want to actually take the time and see how everything is generated. After you get the sequence, the bezel expands, and these fragments start telling you the truth about what's actually going on in the radio. Person that was planning to read and go through all the stations, because every station is different and it has a story. You actually can make a choice. Actually, also, you can decide to help them to save the planet. It asks which station reads a catalog entries for objects lost between universes. So I know that will be the minor archive. I can just copy and paste it. The midnight hour. And I could just say, let's say, I know it's like a clock. And it still gives me a different answer. So the whole idea was like, to be able to make it as independent as possible with as little as possible. The idea was also to make the person pay attention, of course, which I did. So it was like a requirement.
Let me myself. Okay, so my real name is Edward. All right, so this is pronounced Enikese. In Akan, that's my language. It means big eye. And then the whole point of this whole project is in a place like Ghana where you have big families, but being a back-end engineer like this, you're always programming, you're always working on something. So there's little time for you to check up on your family. So the whole point is to be able to build a central brain that's powered by an LLM, so that you register a family tree. So let's say you add people, let's say person 1, person 2, person 3, and you're able to link them. That's okay. A is a relative of B, B is a relative of C. So it's more like you would interact with forms, register a person, and then now when you register the family tree, what happens is there's also a model cron that runs. So using model, there's a cron that runs every interval that you set. But for the sake of my test, I reduce it to 10 minutes. So it's like that every 10 minutes, it is going to trigger. And when it triggers, it's going to look at everybody that has not been contacted within a while and then sends them a WhatsApp nudge, sends them a WhatsApp message. And then it also adds a link. So let's say I'm a coordinator and then I'm related to person A. What happens is this link will be sent to my WhatsApp and I'll be able to open up my WhatsApp and reply that this person is okay. To be able to make a model like Quen, be able to translate or kind of get the sentiment out of whatever the person sent in Chi, there's another model from Facebook that I used that tries to convert the Chi to English so that it will fit into the sentiment classifier. So that now the sentiment classifier can say that, okay, if I say something in Chi, it takes it to English, which now the sentiment classifier is conversant with, and we'll be able to tell the coordinator, okay, this person needs to be called. Now, the whole inspiration for this project is I recently was bereaved, and I so much wish I checked on the person. I'd heard from the person a long time ago, and I so much wish I had heard from the person. The person was going through a lot, and other relatives, I didn't even know. So with such a project, it's kind of like you have an AI that now knows your relatives, and then it's able to fill in the silence that you, let's call this person. So you see that the person replies, and then we know that this is it, or the person takes so long to reply, and then there's going to be something that's triggered for somebody to check on the person. That way, you have AI helping you kind of keep your family in check and all that. So once again, it runs on an ASL fine-tuned version of CRISPR, and then it also has Facebook MMS doing the TTS work. That's text to speech. That is when you send a voice note or something voice enabled, and the model running a cron, which is always runs at an interval so that it will trigger. Okay, let's go and perform this. Let's go and perform that action. Okay, so I talked about recently. I lost an uncle, right? And then I so wish I had checked up on him. Okay. So it had been about weeks. I heard from him, being one of the people who would tell him to go to the hospital before it was too late. But I didn't know that. Trying to break the silence, long silences. That's the business of work, the business of life, and all of that. Okay, yeah. So
I'm a researcher. My background is in psychology. I joined this hackathon kind of to challenge myself and to have something to do with my rich mini. The purpose of this app was to try and have a helper for the random medication boxes that I have no idea what the medication is for unless I had to create a database of medication because I didn't want, and I used two public databases, the medicines, the NHS medicines A to Z. So NHS is the National Health System here in the UK. Now I wanted the user to be able to load in an image. I want it in a language. I want the explanation, let's say, in Spanish or in Romanian. This app is using two local models, Mini CPM V for like reading in the image. Other thing I wanted to highlight to you before I actually run this is this other section, technical details. First of all, I certainly need to kind of what is the longest time that someone is willing to wait for the model to do each job. So here I have 60 seconds. If it doesn't find the answer, if you can't read the text in the on the medication label in 60 seconds, it's just going to say, okay, I wasn't able to read this text, and then nothing will show up in the information boxes. The other thing I wanted to show you here at the bottom is the extracted text from the image. So extract the OCR, it tells me that this local AI model found this text. Sometimes my purpose from the beginning was to run this as an independent app on the Reach Mini.
I'm Bhargav. I'm currently a master student in Paris at Play. I'm Bhargav. I'm currently a master student in Paris at Play. And coming to the hackathon, project introduces a city-wide scavenger hunt tag game where you can play with your friends, choose a city as your board game, and travel along the city and explore the city as you play along the games. And it's basically a multiplayer game where you can specify city wherever you are and turn it as your a game board and have fun with your friends. Was inspired by the jet lag, the game where they use the whole countries as their game board. So in order to start, we can create a room and yeah, we enter the details. The host select the game. So currently we have a choice of three games: scavenger hunt, hide and seek, and tag. So now we can try with the scavenger, and we can set two teams. Can see the example of Paris, or we can select a neighborhood area if you want to play the game in a specific area, or shorten the whole game. They want some more so that the games on this task can be easy or like safe for them to play, and set the number of players. For now, we can set the number of players to two, and we have the lobby, and we have joined the lobby, for example, and choose a team. Or the players can choose which team they want to play for, or if there is more than two players, and complete the task based on it. And we can also record a voice note, and the model transcribes it in a selected language. We do support 14 languages.
This was my first interview. This was the first time we meted us, but I didn't feel nervous because I'm sure people from this community are so kindly to share and to support each other. After this interview, I realized something very important. That is, AI cannot replace the human because behind every space, there are a human idea, a human stories, a real problem, and a unique way to see the world. But at the same time, without AI, many of these ideas would probably never become a real product because the majority of us, we are neither developer nor engineering, so we can't do this without help of AI. And without this community, without all the documents, without the platform, without the accessible tools for the machine learning, all of this would very far from people who are not traditional machine learning engineers. A lot of people of this hackathon, it was their first time to fine-tuning the model. So I want to say thank you to the organizers, to Huggingface, to Graduate team. Thank you for creating this platform to make this knowledge more accessible for all the people. And thank you for the whole Graduate team and the community for the support, for the feedback, and for the inspiration. And thank you again for all the participants join this interview, support my content. I will put all the links of their space and their social media links on the comment. And this is the today's video. If you are interested, you can try their space, contact them, and the most important is exploring Hugging Face by yourself. Okay, thank you for watching and see you next time.
Okay, good job.
Good
You did a
job.
good job.